Hello dear viewers, this is RTD's English News Edition, the top stories. Inauguration of World Bank new headquarters and the signing of a financing project to support entrepreneurship in Djibouti. In the Gaza Strip, truce between Israel and Hamas. Thank you for joining us in our newsroom. We're going to open our edition with sports tonight. The World Cup, France champion of the world, Les Bleus are world champions of football after their victory in the final in Moscow. The men of Didier Deschamps clinched their second star after beating the Croats on the score of 4-2. France has imposed itself in this meeting with a completely crazy scenario. The first minutes were unresponsive for French fans. The Croatian player started that much better by imposing a high pressing of all the moments to the French. Against the core of the games, Les Bleus opened the scoring after a goal against Mario at 18. The Croatians quickly tied at 28 after a shot by Ivan. The last minutes of the matches were stifling, the Croatians imposing a defense attack on Les Bleus, but the French have held on. The French team, for the second time in its history, after its first title in 1998, is world champion in football. Now moving on to the national news, the Minister of Defense in charge of relations with the Parliament, Mr. Ali Hassan Bahdon, received today at his cabinet the Ambassador of the United States of America, Anglais. In addition to the Minister, Captain Elias Abdullahi Gelle, head of the cabinet of the Ministry of Defense in charge of relations with the Parliament, took part in this meeting from the Djibouti side. The main purpose of his visit is to meet the members of the government since taking office as the new ambassador of the United States of America in the Republic of Djibouti. The discussions between the minister and his host focus on military cooperation between our two forces. Both sides express satisfaction with the mutual support provided by our defense and security forces and the U.S. forces based in Djibouti. In their meeting, the two authorities also raised the situation in the region, particularly that of Somalia. The ambassador of the United States of America to Djibouti, His Excellency Larry Andre, made on last Thursday, July 12, his first courtesy visit to the region of Arta. The American diplomat was accompanied by his political attaché, Mr. Chuma. He was received at the prefecture of the city of Arta by the prefect of the region, Mr. Abdullahi Drar Okiye, and his first deputy, Mr. Fouzi. The interview focused on general issues and ways and means to deepen contacts. The prefect of Arta emphasized the protection of the environment, especially in the area of Arta, where marine protected areas are identified. The U.S. diplomat informed the prefect of the imminent start of the Shebele road construction and the connection to the network of Onayat infrastructure. Both parties agreed to elevate the partnership to a higher level. The delegation paid the same visit to the president of the regional council, Mr. Elmibouh. The World Bank has opened this morning the doors of its new offices located at the Men's Tower in Venice. The inaugural ceremony brought together and on the spot the Minister of Economy and Finance, Ilyas Moussedouali, the Minister of Health, the Minister of Decentralization, Secretary of State for Social Affairs, Mrs. Mona Osman Aden, President of the Chamber of Commerce, Yusuf Moussedouali, various representatives of the UN organizations, the diplomatic corps, and consulars. The local team of the World Bank was very caring for all the distinguished guests at the reception and reflects a willingness of the World Bank to get closer to the elites of Djibouti to better meet the common aspirations of development of some and others. And for this occasion, the Minister of Economy and Finances, Ilyas Moussedouali, said that the World Bank was a partner of choice in the development process, the government's vision, and its head of state, His Excellency Ismail Mergeli. And after the inauguration and carrying the ribbon, the Minister of Finance, Ilyas Moussa Douale, and the representative of the World Bank initiated the signing of a financing agreement for the project supporting women and youth entrepreneurship in Djibouti. The Women and Youth Entrepreneurship Support Project will help many small and medium-sized businesses to access development services. This will allow the creation of new growth sectors and a diversification of the economy to maintain a growth rate and create jobs. The signing of this agreement aims to harness the transformative power of women and youth who start their businesses. In his statement, the Minister of Finance indicated that the main objective of this initiative is to improve the business environment and to help unlock the extraordinary potential of talented young people. We need to change mentalities, he said, to create a new generation of talented and dynamic leaders. As part of a working visit in all the social counters of the capital, this Sunday, July 15, the Secretary of State for Social Affairs, Mrs. Mona Osman Aden, carried out a tour of observation and analysis of work at the social counters nearby, namely the counter 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6 of the municipality of Belaus and Belbela. This event saw the presence of the Secretary of State responsible for social affairs, Mrs. Mona Osman Aden, the head of social counter service, Mr. Muhammad Awali, the president of the municipality of Belaus, Mr. Muhammad Ismail Umar, the president of the commune from Belbela, Mr. Awabiri Noor Aleye, and the local representative of two communes. Indeed, the Secretary of State, Mrs. Mona Osman Aden, during her tour in the social counters, made inspections on the progress of work within the services, the manner in which the recordings and the biometric enrollment follow each other. To close up the national news, the President of the Court of Auditors, Mrs. Ismail Mahmoud Ibrahim, invited the country's media to a press conference on the annual report of the Court of Auditors given each year to the President of the Republic during a solemn ceremony. The annual reports of the Court of Auditors is a compilation of audits conducted by the magistrates of the court, she said. This year's report focused on the management of funds. The court has audited a series of funds, including the youth fund. The President of the Court of Auditors intervened during this press conference, declaring the court establishes an annual general report which takes the main observations formulated during the control carried out in the years and the measures advocated to remedy the anomaly and malfunctioning, underlining the national context in which these public reports is established. These fundamental texts leverage strong political will from national vision and development strategy. On the international news, in Gaza, truce between Israel and Hamas after a violent escalations. Mohammed Aden has more to tell us.
And armed groups in Gaza on Saturday concluded a ceasefire to end Israeli raid on the Gaza Strip and shooting at Israeli territory from the Palestinian enclave. The Israeli army armed group in Gaza on Saturday concluded a ceasefire after the violent escalations in the Palestinian enclave wars. Learned from a Palestinian official. Egypt's mediation has helped bring about the ceasefire, Hamas spokesman Fawzi Barhum said in a statement. Questioned by AFP, an Israeli military spokesman did not wish to comment.
And that's all for this edition. Thank you for joining us on the radio television of Djibouti, and have a good night.